Hello, all of my YouTube subscribers, friends, fans, and family, all of my Facebook subscribers, friends, fans, and family. So, I want to talk about breeding. Um, and I want to talk about African American male slaves and breeding. And I want to talk about one process of the breeding process. Now, there were plantations all over the United States of America, as you know. And these plantations that, held African American slaves were taking African American males. This is just one part of the breeding process, and this is the only one I'm going to describe in this video. They were taking African American males from plantation to plantation, allowing them to get wives and have children, and then they go to the next plantation and do the same thing, and go to the next plantation and do the same thing. And by the time they got to the last plantation, they probably did have another child, but it was probably like one more child. And then when they got really old, they would let them work in the house and do minimal heavy lifting work, but they still had to do a large amount of work, not as in the cotton field sense, but a lot of work in the house they still had to do. So and like I said, minimal as in lifting, but still large household chores because they were male, these African American male slaves, right? So now, getting back to the African American male slave that went around and made all of these babies and was not able to take care of any of them. And yes, you heard what I said correctly. This was not the African American male slave's idea. He did not want this. He wanted to take care of all of his children. He was being sold away from them. He was running back to these plantations that he was sold away from to be with his wife and his children. And guess what? He would have to go right back, because he would usually be caught, and he would have to go right back to the to that same plantation. And sometimes he would be whipped with 75 lashes, sometimes 50, sometimes 100. It really depended on the decision of his slave master of how many lashes he wanted to give this black male slave. So when you think about this, you see why the pattern has continued for so long of some black men going around making all these babies and taking care of none of them. And they don't see anything wrong with this now. I wish that these black men that are doing this could have a conversation with the African American male slave ancestors in their family, and find out exactly what breeding was and why it's not okay to go around and make all of these babies everywhere. And this is only some black men that are going around making babies everywhere and not taking care of them. This is not all black men. There are some good black fathers out there. As far as the black woman was concerned. And this pattern has continued as well. Sickly enough, these patterns have continued. The black woman would be impregnated. She would be raped. This is the difference, though, then and now. She would be raped by her white slave master. And her white slave master would tell her, you must say that this child is that of your black African American slave husband and not my child, because then I will have to sell you. If if the wife was to question him about it, he would have to sell that black African American slave woman away, also known as a bed wench. So because once he was raping her, it didn't stop, it continued, whether her husband came into the picture first or not. And that's something to keep in mind as well. And this black man, this African American male slave, would take the child on and give the child a name of his and the wife's choosing, but that child would not be his. It would actually be that of their slave master. Now, on the wonderful chance that the slave master did not find one of the African American male slave's wife, if he didn't find that the wife of that African American male slave attractive, then he would not approach that woman. But that was rarely the case. In most cases, that was rarely the case. So keep that in mind as well. And these sick things have continued. I know you have heard about some of these black women that have accused black men of being the father of their child for 18 years and been getting child support for 18 years from this same black man who is not even the father of this child. Some of these black women will do this. And some of these black men will do the same by running around making these babies and not being there to take care of them. Slavery, African American enslavement of our ancestors, they learned these patterns, and it came out, and it kept coming out, and it kept coming out, and it kept coming out. The patterns are still going on. You see them today. And if you don't, then you must be blind. Literally. You have to see this. You have to understand what is going on here. You have to understand these things happened in slavery, and they're still happening right now, except for now it's not physical slavery, it's a mental slavery. Keep that in mind as well. All right, guys, that's all I have to say on that. I hope you like this video. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. All right, guys. Bye.